All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the video. Let me start by welcoming you in to the new penthouse. First of all, it's the kitchen island specifically, the living room. I'll do a full tour if you guys want. We moved from the farm mansion here in Miami into downtown, right in the heart of the city here. And we got a penthouse unit. We'll be hosting all of the Inner Circle Masterminds moving forward, starting in Q1. So yeah, it's a pretty sweet place. We'll do the networking here in the unit. We have a big upgrade when it comes to the actual mastermind presentation area. It's a big like movie theater screen. It's got a whole stage, and we've historically had these really comfy bean bags that the groups voted on for the sitting areas. And now we have full-blown like couches and chairs and like, legit furniture. We'll still pepper in some bean bags for a little bit of overflow. But anyway, that's where we're at today, just to be clear. And today's video, I call pocket opportunities. So on the path to getting to $1 million a month, no matter whether you're running low ticket to high ticket opportunities, straight up going into high ticket products and services, there comes these opportunities that, once again, I call pocket opportunities. They're contextual retargeting, like if this, then that opportunities. And simply put, there are many of them. They add up tremendously to a good couple $100 grand a month when you do them successfully. And today I want to sit here and I want to go through a few examples with you so you can understand the thinking for how this works. And then I'm going to show you some examples, and I'm going to talk to you specifically about some times that we've done it ourselves so you can see in action what it looks like. So for starters, what the hell is a pocket opportunity? Okay, I'll give you a great example. Earlier today, I'm on the phone with one of my Inner Circle students, okay, and I'm going through his funnel, and one interesting set of statistics came up, okay? So he runs traffic from an ad over to a VSL page, okay? And his VSL page, classic setup that we like, headline, the video, and then an application down here below. Now to be clear, his total play rate on this video was 19%, meaning out of the total quantity of people that came from the ad, went to this page and just pressed play on the video, it was only 19%. Now to be clear, whether you view that or want to label that, I should say, as good or bad, just neglect that right now. It was actually a very profitable funnel for him. He was more so just wondering like, is that a problem? We were looking for what was the easiest to double. Was his click-through rate the easiest to double? Was his CPM the easiest to reduce in half? Was his conversion rate on the page the easiest to double? That was the thinking we were using. So when we came to this particular statistic, well, it definitely had a lot of leverage in it, okay? And a lot of you might think right away, and it's fair to think this to be clear, you might think, okay, well, if I optimize like thumbnail differences, maybe that could get somebody to click. But keep in mind, this page is so simple in its design, and it's intended to get people to watch. It's the whole point. So if you're missing 81% of people to even press play on this video, does it make sense to just try to, change the thumbnail? Sure, you might get a few extra percentage points out of it, but remember, we're trying to double that statistic. In this case, let's round it up to 20%. We're trying to get it from 20 to 40%. Doing that with a thumbnail, that's challenging. It's not as probable as some of the other options. So here's what I proposed to him. I said, dude, this is a pocket opportunity. This makes perfect sense to employ this contextual logic that's right here in front of us. So look at it like this. In this particular case, we had 80%, technically 81% of people that did not watch. Now, I asked him, I said, how many people have you driven traffic to this specific page that fall into that 81% category? And in his case, he was like, oh, I just got ads going a couple days ago. Okay, so let's use the example that it was 500 people that were within this bucket, okay? Of people that technically did not watch, all right? Now, this grows every single day that he's spending money on this ad driving traffic to this VSL page. Every single day it grows. So to be clear, this is a really low dollar cost per day budget that he could create a contextual remarketing opportunity for. Now to be clear, imagine you have an ad that drives people. It could be the exact same ads, by the way. You could literally duplicate whatever's working in the VSL funnel that got these 500 people here that didn't press play in the first place. However, instead of driving them to a simple VSL page like what we see here, what we're gonna do instead, we're gonna drive them to a long form sales page, and we're gonna optimize for the same outcome. His outcome here was calls. So this is still a call funnel, okay? And what we're gonna intend to do here is we're gonna break out in sections, okay, what each one of his VSL slides would have said into a page, okay? So let's use the example that he has, 30 total slides or 30 total, like this is what he's trying to express in his VSL. His VSL was like 16 minutes long. You could do this as well with a webinar, but keep in mind, if it's a really, really long webinar, you're gonna have a really, really long sales page. So in this particular case, this was done with a VSL, so it strategically made sense to break it out into a page that might come out to like 16 to 20 total sections, okay? So this page will be scrollable. What's that accomplish, right? That becomes the next question. Well, what's that accomplish? Well, keep in mind, the 81%, they had interest. On the interest scale, they were curious enough. They wanted whatever the ad had articulated this guy could help them with. They just didn't want to watch the video. They either literally didn't want to, they didn't have the time to, they saw the length of it and they said, that's not for me, I don't want to do that. Whatever the reasoning, they didn't press play. Knowing that, we then create that long form page for these specific people to go through. Now listen to this, just because his had 500 people, I recommended him to do a $5 daily budget because that could easily reach those 500 people in a day or 2 or 3. And keep in mind that audience grows. So as the audience grows, the budget is gonna go up. It doesn't necessarily start small and stay small. Ideally, through time, as the audience continues to grow, this is a proportional thing. So as your ad spend on the main VSL in this case continues to incrementally increase, let's use the example you're doing like a 10 to 30% daily budget scale. You might wanna follow that same logic with this specific $5 a day contextual pocket opportunity, okay? Where it goes from $5 a day to like, 30% greater or whatever, once again, in direct correlation to whatever the VSL is. And vice versa for the VSL funnel if it scales down. If you go down in daily budget on the VSL funnel, it also makes sense to go down in daily budget on this pocket opportunity, okay? Now, pocket opportunities, I hope you understand the logic of them by this example that I just provided, but let me just break it down as simple as it is. There are dozens, especially at scale, dozens of opportunities to have a contextual conversation with somebody based on what they did or did not do. That's all a pocket opportunity is. It's taking the logic of marketing automation, of if this, then that, and it's applying it to your advertising processes and what's available to you. It's taking that same logic and it's applying it obviously to your email marketing, your text message marketing. It also becomes really powerful to execute when you have your salespeople aware of these pocket opportunities on their side of things. So like somebody, as an example, has opened and consumed the last like 20 marketing automation communications they've received. That's really good to know. Like if the salesperson can quite literally pick up their phone, send a selfie video for somebody they're trying to get in communication with. Hey, what's going on, lead? I see that you're consuming a lot of our stuff. We actually just put together a nice long form video explanation going through why this offer is perfect for a guy like yourself. I wanted to shoot it over to you and check it out. Just wanted to make sure first that it's something that you'll watch or that you have time to watch here tonight. Let me know if you want it. To a lead who sits there and is like, oh my God, like, yeah, I'm sitting here doing a buttload of research on this company. I would love to watch something like that. You see, it's little opportunities to take advantage of just contextual situations that increase our probability to scale. Now imagine this, right? This was just one little example to be clear, okay? One little example. There are so many pocket opportunities available. I get so excited about the pocket opportunities. This is such a great way to think as a marketer in your organization. And in addition to that, when you're doing $1 million a month, or you want to get to $1 million a month, these become the things that tack on a good like couple $100K that are extremely high in ROAS. It's a weighted metric that you have to understand. So as an example, if I look at just my total returns, okay, and I have my individual, funnels and like conversion mechanisms that drive traffic and our overall ROAS, I might have stuff that's, upwards of like 10 to 1 or 50 to 1. Like the ROAS gets ridiculous on these things. And it's important to note, sure, like your main funnel, like let's use the VSL in that other example I just provided to you, that might be like your 4 to 1 ROAS. And that's tremendous, obviously, if you're able to do that at scale and maintain that. However, no exaggeration, you'll have like 100 to 1 or 50 to 1 ROAS. You won't be able to spend as much on each one of these, but it's important to note, like these become the opportunities that stack up, okay? And when you look at it from like a revenue basis, so if we take, once again, from $0 all the way up to our $1 million in a month, okay? And we look at what makes the revenue, in almost all instances, you'll have one main funnel that is overly responsible for like a majority of your revenue. It could be a call funnel, it could be a webinar funnel. Those are the most common ones that take up most of the revenue. If you're an e-commerce guy or girl watching this, your main breadwinner product, okay? But to be clear, in terms of funnels, once again, that get you from 0 to 1 mil, that'll be the main thing. But then the pocket opportunities can be a good 30% from what I've seen, getting to $1 million a month. And it's for the companies that take advantage of them. Once again, when you take the weighted metric, okay, of a good 70% of what you're doing being from the main driver that's gonna be at that 4 to 1 ROAS, okay, and then you look at your pocket opportunities that, once again, without exaggeration, is based on how low the daily spend is, or if it's email marketing, those contextual email marketing opportunities, those obviously have a huge return because you only have the front end cost that drove the person into the email list in the first place. And that might be an organic individual. Your ROAS here can be upwards of like 20 or even 50 to 1 for your total return. And then what you do is you take these two and you weight them, okay? And you can see, like, sure, it's not gonna be 50-50. You gotta have many pocket opportunities stacked on top of each other just to get 30% of what you're doing to the point where it's that much of your total revenue coming in on a month-over-month basis, okay? But my point is, when you weight these two together, what it does is it brings up your overall ROAS to a far greater number when you blend the two and weight them together. So in this case, just as an example, 20 to 1 on 30% of the revenue, 4 to 1 on 70% of the revenue, you might be upwards of a good, 10 to 1 at that point. And that's not exact math for all you math mathematician nerds that are watching me here. To be clear, it's just important to note, I'm trying to make the example that it lifts the overall blended ROAS for the business when you have this level of performance coming from these pocket opportunities. Now, to be clear, and just to give you some specific examples of what are some good, pockets to think with, right? What specifically can you consider looking at for this if this, then that logic, okay? So for starters, I just want to keep it right there. It's if this, then that, okay? And you want to break these out into categories. That's where this becomes very easy to process and very easy to think with. And you could really look at what you've got going on and just these different areas. So I'll give you a good example. Number one, you have the ads, okay? So when you look at your advertising, this is specific to all kinds of opportunities, but I'll just give you a few. Okay, you had people click to a page, just like what we talked about above, failed to convert, put those people into an audience. So the tactical way to set that up, the audience would contain people who went to the web page that had the VSL on it, and it would exclude people who, as an example, did not go to the next page. Because in this case, you would know that 81% of the unconverted traffic, whether they watched the video or not, has a higher probability, an 81% probability to have not watched the video. So as long as you exclude the people who scheduled the call, 8 out of 10 people in that example would have not pressed play. So driving that traffic over to that longer form sales page in that example, or the longer form call scheduling page, would work tremendously well. Anything that I can go into the audiences tab on the ad platforms and look at. So let's use the example that I just go a step above that. They didn't even click to the page. They watched my ad video. Okay, so let's use the example. I have 10 different ad videos and I put all 10 of those ad videos into one audience. So people who watched 3 seconds of this particular set of ads, okay? But they did not go to the page. So my 2 audiences there I would create are, first of all, just a basic web audience. Let's use the example, you want to do this on a rolling 30-day basis so you capture the hottest ones. You can go tighter than that, by the way, if you want to keep the pocket audience cost really cheap per day for the daily budgets. If you have a very high level of daily spend that fills up the bucket faster. If you have a very low level of daily spend, you'd ideally extend out the bucket a little bit further so you have enough people within the bucket in the first place. That way you could justify spending the $5 a day. As silly as that sounds, some of you guys, you might operate on such a low daily spend, you don't even have the ability to take advantage of the pocket audience. But back to talking to the people that want to get to $1 million a month, okay? It's pretty simple. I'm going to create an audience and I wouldn't do 3 seconds. Ideally, I'd do at least 15 seconds. That'd typically be what I'd encourage. Average video view rate is about 1.8 seconds per post. So just to visualize this, I have 10 different ads, okay? And these are all individual ad videos, okay? And in these ad videos, I want 15 seconds of viewership and I would do a 30-day window. You could also do a 14-day window, up to you, depending on, once again, the audience size. Now this becomes an audience. And then what I would do is I would exclude the people who went to the web page, okay? So if we have people that went to whatever, the call funnel, the product page, whatever it is that you're driving the traffic to, okay? From these 10 ads. Now to be clear, when I have this 15-second video view audience and I exclude the people who went to the web page, what I'm accomplishing here is very important. I now have a pocket opportunity in that example. I have people who watched 15 seconds of the video, but my hook, okay? My hook, and this is what's important. Let's use the example, I'm running static ads. So each one of these individual videos is standalone static ad. Or let's use the example, I'm using dynamic creative and they're all blended together. Whatever your setup is. What I know is these hooks that this person potentially saw failed in the first 15 seconds of them watching to get them to go to the web page. So to be clear, let's call this basket 1, okay? What I'm then gonna do when I have this audience of 15-second video viewers, excluding the web traffic, meaning the people who didn't click to the page, then I have basket 2. So what I can do from that point is I can take all these unconverted people here and I can take a new set of videos, a set of videos that they have not seen yet that contain different hooks, okay? So now these videos, these are still ad videos, but they're different in terms of the hooks used. Maybe the first set of videos that I used were like talking head videos. So even though they all contain different hooks, that didn't land well. Maybe basket 2, in terms of the different videos or different hooks being used, are all like case study videos. Or let's use the example, you're like an e-com person. The first set of videos might have been like your hero ads, where you're demonstrating image ads as an example that have just your product and like one main specific benefit or like a few benefits listed. This specific set of hooks might be like your unboxing videos, or your UGC ads. You know what I mean? So to be clear, I'm gonna rotate these people for a couple bucks a day. It's like, it's a really low daily spend, once again, that goes towards basket 2, because basket 2 only fills when people watch 15 seconds and failed to go to the web page. Now to be fair, this specific pocket opportunity would be a little bit bigger than a $5 a day audience, because you're always gonna get more people that view things, but beyond clicking to things, okay? So that's a pretty wide pocket opportunity, but that's my point. It's wide enough to create a contextual if this, then that scenario to capture a demographic that you targeted in the first place, that Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, wherever the hell you're doing this, the platform, these trillion-dollar companies believed that that person was probable to convert on your ad. So the unconverted non-click traffic does not mean that they weren't probable to convert. It just means those ads didn't land well with them. So basket two. So when you really get in the trenches, just in the weeds with pocket opportunities, you can make so much more money. You can make so much more money, especially at scale. You might think, 70% of your ROAS coming from your main funnel drivers, your main 1 or 2 funnels that you got versus 30% coming from these pocket opportunities might sound outrageous. But when you stack things like that, like broad opportunities like what I just articulated, where you can easily spend a couple hundred, maybe even a couple $1,000s a day, depending on your main daily spend, into that, okay? And obviously the same thing goes for email marketing. I'm a tremendously big fan of taking email marketing super serious. I don't understand why people don't leverage all the data that they have on people. So I'll give you a great example. I talk about this inside of an SOP that I share inside of my student communities and my Inner Circle program, and I refer to it as the Email Matrix SOP. It is a baller document that took me, I don't even know how many days in a row, just sit there and write up, okay? Because I was really frustrated seeing how many people's marketing automation was just so severely underutilized. In most instances, when I come in and I work with an organization or I consult with an organization, or even people in my Inner Circle program, like they're going from a good, maybe like 100 to 300K a month, like they're trying to punch through $1 million a month, okay? And in some instances, we work with people that are far bigger than that. I had just gotten so fed up with the fact that people weren't taking advantage of the email marketing opportunities. There's so much more context there because you have so many more opportunities for segmentation, okay? Let's use application data as an example. We have a company that we were working with out in Santa Monica, California, and they were raising capital, okay? What they were doing is they were managing people's money. Now, moral of the story, without going into all the little details about it, the minimum amount of money you had to have these people manage your money was $1 million. That was their floor, okay? And they had a form that you could fill out, an application form that took it all the way up to 100 million plus and everywhere in between. So like you had to have $1 million at least, and then it went up to like 3 to 5 million, and then it went from like 5 to 10 million, and then it would go from like 10 to 25, 25 to 50, 50 to 75, 75 to 100, 100 million plus. So a lot of different individual options. Now to be clear, as you can imagine, there's a substantial difference between a guy or girl that you're gonna talk to that only has $1 million versus a guy or girl that's got 100 million plus, okay? So what most businesses do, it's excessively lackadaisical, it's the laziest shit ever. They'll take all of those leads and they'll just funnel them into one giant email marketing autoresponder, okay? So they'll take, lead type, let's just number them, okay? So we have the 1 mil, we have the, the 3 to 5 mil, we got the 5 to 10 mil, we got 10 to 25, we got these 25 to 50, we got the 50 to 75, and then we got the 100 mil plus, the big dogs, okay? And what most marketers will do is they'll just take all these people and they'll funnel them into one, and it's the exact same, that's the worst part, one email marketing autoresponder, okay? It's trash. It's the worst thing you could do. Because once again, if you have a salesperson as an example, pick up the phone and talk to the lead who's got $1 million, like they've got $100 million. The needs are totally different. Just as an example of this, the person who has $100 million in liquid cash, stocks, assets, real estate, bonds, whatever the hell they got the money in, they are going to be very, very concerned about even how the hell they're gonna transfer that to you. There's obviously huge implications on the amount of trust that has to be there for that to occur. They'd likely want to see many times over that you've already done that with people who have that amount of assets that are transferring to you to manage. They'd want to have a completely different plan. Like the person who has 100 mil in asset value that's looking to grow it, in most instances, they're not being like super high risk, especially given their age in most instances to have that amount of money. They're typically being conservative. So like the plan that you're going to articulate as an organization in that example is extremely different. The concerns are different. The plan is different. The expectations are different. The speed in which the deal's probable to close is different. The case studies they need to see are different. Like just the way they need to be communicated in general is different. You see? So once again, they had, in their case, 46% of their leads come through with the 5 to 10 mil number, okay? It's crazy to me to think that each one of these would not have their own independent, contextual, communicating to that person's needs, communicating to their specific objections, communicating to their specific desires. Like that's just what makes sense. It's one of those things that when you hear it out loud from a guy like me, you think, oh, that's a fucking no-brainer. But I assure you, with damn near a 100% probability, you as an organization are not leveraging your application data, the existing segmentation. Like outside of this example with application data, just think about this in terms of segmentation, okay? So one of the most basic things that email marketers will do, they'll see who has interacted and engaged. And they really only do this nowadays, to be clear, because most CRMs will force you to do it. They will not allow you to email people who have not interacted with your email list to protect their own IPs that they're emailing from. So who has interacted with the emails, the most, and the least, okay? So these two, these are probably, as an organization, one of the most utilized, like if this, then that scenarios. But once again, it's because it's forced. It's because it's forced. And what you'll do then is you'll have this segmentation, right? Where you'll break out like, okay, these people just recently engaged, let's send them a hell of a lot more emails. These people did not engage, we need to warm them back up and get them into that first bucket. So let's treat them differently. Let's do like a re-engagement sequence is what it's typically called. That's what you're doing as an organization if you're working with a great email marketing company, agency, or just have a great email marketer in-house. Once again, most people are not doing that though. They're not even doing that basic thing, let alone having contextual pocket opportunities taken advantage of. So my point being, back to what I'm attempting to articulate to you. When you look at the if this, then that scenarios, like, okay, I've got my ad opportunities. And even on that level, I can go like a subcategory of that. I can go, okay, well, it's not just ads. It's like, okay, did they watch a video and click? Did they watch a video and not click? Like that's 2 opportunities for pockets right there, okay? Did they go to the page and press play? Did they go to the page and not press play? Pocket opportunities on both sides. Okay, did they book a call? Did they not book a call? Did they fill out an application and not book a call? Did they book a call and then open a lot of emails? Did they book a call and then not open a lot of emails? You see, how did they interact with the sales team? Did they show up? Did they not show up? Did they have a specific set of objections that the sales team noted in the CRM that are now segmented? Did they not do that? You see, so there's so many. I could sit here and list off seriously like so many. And I regularly do, but I do it inside of my Inner Circle program. I do it inside of my paid courses. I do it for simply put the people who pay me. So listen, I've got a great opportunity for you per usual. It's joining into my Inner Circle program. 4 times a year, we do in-person masterminds here in Miami, Florida. You can come to the new Penthouse, enjoy some time with great quality people. We cap the group, so it is a limited quantity. You gotta make a certain amount and you gotta be able to be in there a good duration of time. We don't want people coming in and out. We hate people who wanna just come to masterminds. Like, we don't want you. We want the people who wanna be in there for a while. And it's important to understand, we do that because you're gonna get value and give value. You become a part of the community and a part of the value add yourself if you're the right type of person for this group. So that's who we're looking for. Twice a month, we do one-on-one calls together. 4 times a month on Saturdays at 11 a.m., we do our weekly group calls where you can put in topic requests. You can show up, listen to the recordings, whatever you prefer. A lot of value inside of those. And we have a group chat, of course. Average group member at this point does anywhere from about 100K a month to a little bit above that. We have outliers that do all the way up to 5 million a month. And we have our low end that does anywhere from like 20 to 50K a month in most instances. The link for that is down below in the description. You might even find it in the comments. Would love to have you if you're the right type of person. In addition to that, I have courses. I have my Master Internet Marketing course, which is on topics like this. And believe it or not, I know it sounds crazy, excessively more detailed than this. So I also have my high ticket agency program where we teach people how to start and scale marketing agencies. We've got what you need. We can help you out if you're in the market for any of those kind of things. So looking forward to helping you. Of course, subscribe, like the video, comment if you got something valuable out of it, and check out some of my other videos. My entire channel is dedicated to helping you try to get to $1 million a month. All right, talk soon. Bye.